Hello everyone. In this video, we will learn how to create an EKS cluster using Terraform and GitHub Actions. In this particular video, we will be focusing on auto mode where we are enabling EKS cluster in auto mode, which is the new functionality that AWS has recently launched. So we will explore that. If you wanted to see how I have created everything manually, where I have explained each and everything in more detail, you can follow my different video that I have put it in the description. This video is specifically to create all the resources using IAC. So now we'll see for the auto mode. So the requirements for creating an EKS cluster in auto mode. First, you need a VPC with public and private subnets and proper tagging as per the EKS cluster requirement. The second, you will be creating a cluster in auto mode where you are enabling that. The third is IAM roles and groups to provide the access to the cluster. So we will be using the concept of IAM roles and groups and the EKS access entries that AWS is using to provide that AWS recommend to use it to provide access to the EKS cluster and the ingress class resources so that our cluster is ready and anybody can deploy their workload, and it will ensure that it creates the ingress resources like load balancer also to support all the external access and everything. So once this cluster is created using this process, your cluster is all good and you can just deploy your workload there. So to start with, for the VPC, so here you can see I am using this module. This is a community builder module, so it's perfectly fine to use them. So we are using this. We are providing then all the details as per the requirement. So you can provide your CIDR blocks, AZs, private subnets, everything like this. And the net gateway, so here you can see I have said enable net gateway because we need that for the private subnets, and single net gateway, which is important because if you don't specify this demo project is going to create 3 net gateways, so it will unnecessarily increase the cost because net gateway has price. So that's the reason I have just put it like single net gateway. And then you have a public subnet tags. So here you can see that I am providing this tag, which is again as per the EKS requirements, and the private subnets. So this is all I am customizing it. If you go to this particular module, you will see what all other options you have. You can customize it. But for my requirement, this is all it's needed. So we are creating the VPC in this way. And again, if you already have the VPC, you can directly use the VPC ID. But just make sure that their public subnet and private subnet has tagged properly. So that is the only requirement. So once you have the VPC, the next you are going to create an EKS cluster. So again, we are using the EKS module. We are providing the version name, and here cluster endpoint public access as true, and enable cluster creator admin permission. That means the person who is creating the cluster, we want that person to have admin access by default. So we are just setting it as true, and then providing the compute configuration. So here we have said that in the node pools, just create the general purpose node pool, and then cluster upgrade policy. So by default, if you don't set it, it goes with the extended support, which has little bit more price than standard EKS cluster. So we will be going with the standard, and here just providing the VPC ID and subnet ID. So that's the only thing. So it will be creating the EKS cluster and providing access to the default user. So once you have this EKS cluster created, the next part is access management. You wanted to provide access to the other users. By default, only the user who created the cluster has access it. So we want to, if you want to give access to the developers, to the admins, so you have you have to provide the access. So here you can see that access, I am using the simple concept here called IAM users and IAM groups concept. to provide the access. So here you can see I am creating this group, EKS admin group. You can create multiple group as per the requirement, like DevOps group, developers group. And then I am creating this IAM role. So here you can see EKS admin IAM role I am creating. This principle, it means anyone can assume this role. That is what this role is. Then I am creating this IAM policy. So I have assigned the admin access. Again, you can define the policies as per the requirement. And then I am creating this IAM policy for this assume role. So here you can see that I have created this IAM policy that allow the users who are part of that IAM group to assume this EKS admin role. So that is what this policy is. And then we are just attaching this policy to this IAM group. So this whole process is creating the group, creating the role, creating the policy, and assigning that policy to the group so that all the users of that particular group can assume this EKS admin role, because not all of the users are able to assume the role by default. So for that you need to give the explicit permission. So this is all it is all about. And then you have to create the EKS access entries. So this is where you are creating the access entries, and principal ARN, you are assigning that role. So as soon as you create this EKS access entry, it means all the users who can assume this role, they have access, which we are assigning it here. So this is the permission that we are assigning. So in this, I'm going with this Amazon EKS cluster admin policy. So for the access policy, here you can see EKS admin policy. Basically, AWS provides all these policies that you can attach to the cluster based on the requirement. And in this documentation, it provides you all the details, like what kind of permissions allowed in this particular policy. So you can always refer to this documentation and assign the policy as per the requirement. So now we have created the access also. So now for the ingress class. So now you have the EKS cluster created. Now for the ingress classes, those are called Kubernetes object also. So for that, first you need to define the provider configuration. So I am using the kubectl provider, and here you have to provide all your EKS cluster details so that you can authenticate with your EKS cluster. So here you can see that I am providing the cluster endpoint, I am providing the token, and then cluster CA certificate. So this is all again in the Terraform documentations, what all options you have. But this is what I have to provide so that my Kubernetes resources that I am going to create will work. So now if I go to this Kubernetes Terraform files, first I am creating this ingress class params. So this is Kubernetes objects, and the most important part is here depends on. So because these resources needs to be created once your EKS cluster is up and running, that's the reason I have put the depends on. And now this is just a YAML configuration. Here you have provided this EKS the object name is ingress class params, and you provided the name this, and then you are telling that your ALB should be internet facing, and the group name. So you can provide whatever you want, but this is just so that you can use the same ALB for multiple services. If you have 20 microservices, you can just use one ALB with different host headers and path pattern. So that is for that particular thing. And this is all changed with the EKS auto mode. In traditional way of EKS cluster, the concept is different, and here they are using the ingress class params, because the annotations that we use in the traditional way of EKS cluster is deprecated with this, not deprecated, not supported in EKS auto mode. So you have to do in this way. And the ingress class. So here you are creating the ingress class and providing the name, and this is where you provide the annotation also. This is the group name. So if you remember in the EKS manage node groups, when you create the cluster, you use this group name, but this is all you use in the ingress resources, not in the ingress class. So this is what it's changed in the EKS cluster now. I can show you also. So let me just go to this Nginx, and if I go here, so you can see that in the traditional way we create only ingress objects, and here directly you provided the annotation that you need internet facing, your target IP is this, and if you have to use the group name also, you put it here also. So this all changed with this EKS auto mode now. So now we have created this and we have created this also. So now in your Nginx basically, or wherever service you are using it, and you want to create the load balancer, basically create the ingress class, what you have to do, you have to just I can just even show you if I have it. Okay, so you just have to provide the ingress class name now that you have created here. So wherever you are creating the ingress object, you will be using this EKS auto ALB name there. And then it will take care of creating the creating the load balancer. And you are using this group name, so it will just use the same ALB for multiple ingress objects. Okay, so this is all you have for the Terraform resources. Now, how you will do the deployment using GitHub Actions. So if you are very new to GitHub Actions and you don't have any understanding, I would say follow my different video on GitHub Actions, which covers the basics. But if you know the basics, you create the workflow in .github workflows, and then you create the YAML file. So I will go with this, and it is very simple. This is like name on, so you can have like whenever there is a push event happens in this particular directory, this workflow will get triggered. And I have even put the pull request so that you can see the Terraform plan before actual it applies. And even I apply the workflow dispatch also, so that I can just do it manually whenever I want to run it. And here you are providing the access key. So we are deploying all these resources on AWS account, so you need the access keys. So for that I'm using the secrets, where I have provided the access keys. Now I created the job here. You can see it's run on Ubuntu latest, so I am not creating any runners. I am using the GitHub hosted runners, and you provide the working directory from where you want to run your Terraform, and you do the checkout. And then here you are configuring the AWS credentials, setting up Terraform. So here you can actually provide the version also if you have a specific requirement, but I'm just going with the latest. And then you initialize, you validate, plan, and if it is main branch, then it's apply, Terraform apply. I just use this destroy also, so that I can, because I'm doing it for the testing purpose, whenever I'm done I just put the destroy, and this whole cluster will get destroyed also. So this is how your workflow is. Now let me show you how does it look like. So this is one, I just ran this, so I just wanted to show you it did all those things. And if you look at the Terraform plan, you can see how much resources it's creating. So if I go there at the bottom, it has created 68 resources. So this is where the IAC is very important these days, because you are creating lot of resources at the background, and it's very important that you use IAC, because if you do everything manually, there are high level of chances that you will do the mistake. So that is the reason IAC is getting more popular, and then it just get applied there. So here you can see that apply the changes. So now let's just open the EKS cluster, and I just wanted to show you how it looks like once it's created successfully. So this is the cluster that got created, and here you can see it has everything. Let's just go with the access. It has created this EKS admin role because we are assigning that, and this is the DevOps user, the user who created this EKS cluster using GitHub Actions. So it has everything, and in the compute options it has general purpose node pools. So your cluster is all set. You can just go ahead and deploy your workload there.